guys. Anyway, and a great person to have on now with the news that Shawn Elliott's coming back. So I'm just going to, you were part of this program 07 to 010. 09, Eric Wolford comes in. The run game changes a little bit, do a little more zone read. You ran Steven a little bit with him. Yep. Then Elliott came in and I think kind of took it to the next level as far as that goes. Talk to us about that run game and sort of, as that evolved back in the day and why is it hard to stop? Because, you look at Georgia State and they're always running the ball against somebody. And sort of your thoughts about how it may fit in with just kind of like he fit it with Spurrier's passing game, fits it with Dowell's passing game.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I definitely realized when Shawn came in here is he came in with confidence. I mean, he's a very confident human being. He's been a great coach for a long time coming and then blossomed here at Carolina more than ever. But he came in and I think he subtly kind of told Coach Spurrier, like, hey, I got the pass protection, I got the run game, you dial up everything else. Like, and I think, allocating that kind of definitely freed up Coach to call the game more aggressively, not have to sit there and worry about, staying ahead of the sticks, because Shawn was very confident, had us coached up very well in the run game, how we could pick up every single pass or pressure that was coming. So from a protection standpoint, Coach Spurrier was just he just wanted to, if they were bringing more than we could block, it was just slide. So slide away, let the back block off the edge and take a shot. That was kind of his MO, and Coach Elliott kind of brought in a different mindset that, hey, we could flip the protection. We could do different things so we can keep the route concept on and still be able to pick up whatever pressure's coming. So I think he opened up Coach Spurrier's mind to take the run game and the pass protection stuff off of his plate and let him solely work on the pass game and calling the game instead of all the different intricacies, which I think – Dow has obviously been the OC in the NFL for a long time. So he understands allocation and the run game and the pass protection. He understands all facets of it. But if you have somebody that you can really trust to go out there and do that job and not have to fact check him every time, it's definitely going to allow him to take the pass game to the next level, maybe the screen game to the next level, wherever he can devote more time to improve. I think that's going to be a big part of Carolina's offense next year is knowing the run game is pretty much set, especially, we're bringing in Coach Elliott's a guy that's had a running quarterback predominantly his entire time. And with Lenore Sellers running the show this year, that is a big piece of it. You're making them have an extra guy in the box to defend the run, and that means there's one less guy deep to throw it over their head. So it's going to be something you can definitely attack people with.
Of course, the Gamecocks have more depth at running back with all three newcomers and two returners. And you have to think, Pat, the offensive line will not go through the injury situation that they did last year. And also there's some really good young players, that had to play last year. You were a young player once, the development process as well as anyone. Even though you may get your butt kicked that first year, does that not help your development a little bit more maybe than sitting on the bench? Because you're out there playing the game.
Yeah, and living through the growing pains is it's tough when you're in the moment, but then on the backside of it, you learn and the game just starts slowing down. So Tree and Marquis and these young guys that had to come in and play on the offensive line, this is going to be – the game's going to slow down so much more for them. They'll be more familiar with Lonnie, more familiar with Coach Ad, and then bring in a new face and Coach Elliott that's going to help install the run game. I think it'll just be a breath of fresh air. Expectations. They had high expectations for me coming in, and did I meet those expectations as a freshman? No, you're not supposed to. But you saw glimpses of what it can be. Especially with the O-line class we just signed too. Same thing. Some of them might have to come in and play a little bit, and that's fine. There's going to be glimpses and there's going to be growing pains, but it's just kind of slowly taking those small steps forward each and every day. Not to mention it was a brand new system Dow brought here last year. And then implementing some of Shawn's stuff. Having watched Carolina last year and having seen Coach Elliott and what he's done, I think there's going to be a lot of carryover and a lot of correlation when it comes to the run game. tight zone, mid zone, wide zone, gap scheme. There's only so many runs you can do. There's different ways to block it up in different boxes that you'll see, but we're not reinventing the wheel like we might have had to with Marcus Satterfield, who was here prior. Dow's going to have some carryover in his offense. Shawn's going to bring some new elements to it. I think Coach Elliott and Coach Loggins will work great together. Two football guys. I'm sure most people who listen to the show listen to Pardon My Take and those guys, and they talk about football guys all the time. But Coach Elliott and Dow Loggins, they are football guys. So having those guys be in the room for 5 or 6 months, starting to dial stuff up for come fall, it's going to be exciting to see.
On Dow Loggins,
you brought it up, Pat, especially with Loggins being in his second year, so you're not reinventing the wheel like you said, but the expectation for Coach Elliott to come in here and actually have some serious, tangible progress in the run game, by not having to completely give the team a new offensive playbook. Is that a reasonable expectation here? Is that okay, since there is some familiarity with Loggins and what he has already started to do and implement, there's just a few minor tweaks there to get the running game up to speed?
Well, I'm sure there will be some language changes from, I don't know if it's Coach Elliott adapting to Coach Loggins' run game, which is probably going to be the stance because Coach Loggins is the OC. But there's 100 different ways to block all these different fronts and these different. But they're pretty much the same play. Do I have a 2-eye? Or do I have a 3 technique? Do I have a shade, or is he a 2-eye? Like, there's so many different ways to block it, and it's just it's going to be between Dow, Shawn, and Lonnie, and coming up to what's the best way. How can we put our guys? And I feel like I'm regurgitating what Dow has said a bunch. Is I'm trying to put my guys in the best position to succeed, and that's what you got to do with these guys. So if you're asking an undersized guard to move a 360-pound defensive tackle all by himself, it's going to be pretty tough. You might want to add a little extra hands and get a double team and work up to the mic. But if you do have a guard who's a mauler and you can put him on an island, you trust him on the island, that allows the backside guard and the center to work up to the play side linebacker or different things. So playing to the guys' strengths and putting them in positions to succeed. You got to think last year we started with, DeCarrion was an incredible Gamecock, and the guy played 17 positions in 5 years. So hats off to him. But we asked him to come in and do something he was not crazy familiar with. And he did it at a high level. But you're getting a guy like Rocket Sanders coming in, and a couple of transfers that have played the position a lot and had some success. I keep reverting back. It's almost the NFL model now. Like, with as much as they're up there, with as much practice as they get, it's not my day where we did winter workouts and we left and we did school. Like, there's a lot more to it now. They're staying in. There's film study even during the downtime. There's walkthroughs during the downtime. This is an NFL offseason. They're in it would be phase 1 right now. Phase 1 of the NFL offseason is 2 hours of weight room work and 2 hours of meeting work. You have 4 hours. Then boom, then you go into phase 2. Phase 2 is a little bit on field. So then you start implementing walkthroughs and installing the plays. And then OTAs would be spring ball. So, then you have that, and then you have summer. So you do it again. There's a lot of reps that they're going to get between now and then. So it's more the maturity of the players and the team and how much they are really taking advantage of those mental reps and those walkthrough reps. Those reps in the weight room, they're important. And at times your body can be sluggish and tired, but every single one of those opportunities to go in there and get better is going to step up, and it's going to take us to the next level.
Beamer also, and you hate to see Coach Limbo go. I saw a picture of him recruiting for Buffalo the other day. He had that sweatshirt on from Animal House that said college on it. I was like, it's hilarious. They're going to miss that guy.
Oh, my goodness.
He's something else. But man, I'm a Falcons fan, like from way back, from before you played there, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the name Joe D. Camillus pretty well. And from watching pro ball through the years, I've never heard his name over and over. And of course, Dan Reeves, I love Dan Reeves. I mean, he's great Gamecock. I pulled for the Broncos when he was there, and of course the Falcons. To get a guy like that to replace Limbo, your thoughts on that, and you played special teams in the NFL.
Yep.
Sometimes I think it's a kind of a different, same sport, different game when it comes to offenses and defenses. Because look at a guy like Steve Wilkes struggles to call defense in the SEC, but he's even though he did get fired, one of the better ones in the NFL.
Yep, no doubt.
Your thoughts about special teams and how it translates? I mean, and is that a little bit maybe better translation than the regular other sides of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of carry, but there's a lot of difference. I mean, you look at just punt in general. Like NFL punt is like very standard. It's what I'm used to. You get into the college world and you're like, hey, like let's put the NFL and blow a bomb up and just watch these different formations and different people. Like it is. So I mean, I would imagine, and there's going to be a big learning curve for him in the college punt structure. And thankfully, he has a head coach who's done it at an extremely high level. And Coach Beamer, I think he'd sit there and tell you he learned a bunch from Coach Limbo. Coach Limbo, oh my goodness, like talk about a detailed human being. He was to a T. He was one of the most impressive coaches from the special team standpoint that I've ever seen. So I mean, yes, huge loss losing Coach Limbo and having 3 years of the same system for our guys. I mean, they're going to have to learn something new. I mean, Coach Deacon Mills is going to bring in something different, but he's going to have to learn a lot from Coach Beamer and Co in that building on what punt is in the college world, the different styles, different block points, and then from a rush standpoint. But now, I'll tell you what, talk about having a guy bring some credibility to the table for college guys to listen to. This guy was in the NFL for 20, 30 years, an extremely high-level coordinator status. So, I mean, every kid that's in that building has NFL desires, has the want to play at the next level, and if they don't, they shouldn't be here. But if they don't have if their ears aren't open, their antennas aren't up listening to him and how he thinks they can get to the next level, then shame on them. So, I mean, I think just him being up there in the front of that room, talking to guys and the credibility that he brings from his track record, it's huge. And especially with his success. I mean, you sit there and did he win a Super Bowl? 1 or 2, right?
Yeah, the Rams a few years back. I think he went to the Super. I know he was the coordinator on the '98 Falcons team that lost the Super Bowl.
Was he in Denver when they played in the Super Bowl too with
I think he's
Shanahan.
got 2 wins and
2
5
rings.
appearances, if I remember. Yeah.
Coach special teams of 5 Super Bowls. So
I wish I could sit in that room and listen to him talk. I mean, not even whether it be about football or not, but I mean, just a lot of experience and a lot of life. So he's a huge hire for us as well. I mean, I think I hate to see Coach Stepp leave just because I was so close with him, but I mean, I think it's a good opportunity for him to get out of his comfort zone and learn a new system and learn under a new thing and coach a position that he is used to coaching. More familiar. So, but
yeah. And Illinois has money, and Barry Lunny Jr. is his buddy that was the OC at Arkansas. It is a good Arkansas. I mean, I live in Illinois, so I hear all about them. I mean, Burlema's done a pretty good job of that program. I think they'll bounce back this year. And I was happy to see him land somewhere to where he's going to be happy doing his job every day. Because, Pat, I think that's important when we could talk about sports and coaches and the Gamecocks as fans and analysts all we want, but human being wise, man, you got to love what you do every day. I think.
100%. Yep.
So
I mean, that's a big thing. It's what's the saying? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I mean, I can tell you flat out in my playing days, as my body was slowing down, as my play was starting to and obviously having kids and being away from the family and all that stuff. I mean, it's just hours and hours away. Towards the tail end of my career, it started at years 1 to 7 or 1 to 8, man. I woke up every morning and I was like, I can't wait to go smash my face against somebody. And then as my career started to get older and I started to mature and I started learning about life and being more in tune with that, it started to feel more like a job. And that's why my play started to dip. So I mean, you're 100% right, JC.
Okay, so you kind of look at the big picture. You mentioned Justin Stepp getting another job. They brought in James Coley, who I followed his career for 20 years. I followed Marquell Blackwell. I remember when Blackwell was a quarterback at South Florida in the 90s. He was really good. Recruited Quinshud Judkins, found him in Alabama, brought him to Ole Miss. Now he's, of course, at Ohio State. It looked like Beamer this time around, and I don't really necessarily expected force changes because I don't. Limbo may or may not have gotten the Buffalo job, that kind of thing. But it looked like this time he put a premium on experience.
Yep.
Well, what can you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I know is having someone with head coach experience in the building is with coordinator experience. All that is a huge asset. And because as good as Shane's done, like he had so many people to attend to. He's fundraising, he's coaching football, he's recruiting, he's doing this, he's going to this event and that event. He has kids, he has a family. So to have somebody not sitting there looking over your shoulder, but that has been there, done that can help you kind of stay on track and kind of be a voice of reason and sounding board. That's huge. It's going to take. I feel like Coach Limbo might have been that a little bit for Coach Beamer, but now having Coach Elliott in there who has head coaching experience, Cooley who has OC experience, Camillus special teams coordinator experience. Like there's a lot of people who've coached a lot of football and coached under a lot of people, and I think that's a big part of Coach Beamer's growth is he was here under Coach Spurrier, and then he left and he was with his dad. And then he went to Georgia and was under
Kirby.
Under Kirby, and then he went to Oklahoma and was under Lincoln. So there's a lot of growth and a lot of experience and a lot of. You think of life and everywhere you go, and putting his resume together. I'm sure he took a bunch from Coach Spurrier. He took a bunch from his dad. Took a bunch from Kirby. Took a bunch from Lincoln, and it's all a part of this huge, massive amount of information that he's slowly over these years is just condensing and fine-tuning. And every year you're going to screw something up, and there's growth in that. And it's just making sure I don't make that same mistake next year. And then there's going to be mistakes then, and then clean those up. So, it's a process, and he's doing a heck of a job.
All right, Pat, man, thanks for coming in and talking some ball. Really nice to have you on to talk about all this, man, because you said it better than any of us can with all that, especially the NFL angle, the experience angle, Coach Elliott coming back. You live that, and it's very valuable for our listeners.
Yeah, one thing that I'm super excited about is Coach Elliott is a very, very intense human being, and he's going to bring a grit and an intensity that, we've all seen the videos of him headbutting and taking his shirt off and fighting with people pregame. That's him, and there's no getting that away from him. So he's going to bring an edge and an intensity that I am, as a fullback, I'm freaking fired up.
Yeah, man. Woo, boy. That's going to be something else. Well, Pat, we really appreciate you, buddy. Talk to you soon.
See y'all.
Yeah,
it's the great Pat DiMarco.